Laws of exponents. After watching this video, I will be able to raise monomials to a power and simplify expressions using the properties of exponents. So we should know what a base and an exponent is. And we can actually take an exponent and raise it to another power. So that's called power to a power, and there's a special rule to deal with that kind of situation. So first we want to remember what happens when we have parentheses. We're supposed to distribute. So this 4x to the third power actually means 4 to the second power and then x to the third power, and that's raised to the second power. And our rule will tell us that we're going to take the exponents and we're going to multiply them. So we would say x, 3 times 2 is 6. So this would equal x to the 6th power. And then we have our 4 to the second power, which is 16, x to the 6th power. Why does this work? Well, what does x to the third power mean? It means to take x times itself 3 times. And then because that is being raised to the second power, meaning the entire quantity, then I'm taking another x to the third power. So how many x's do I end up having? I end up with 6, which is why we take the two exponents and we just multiply them together. So again, power to a power is when we have our two exponents, we have a number or letter raised to a power, and then on the outside parentheses, we're raising that to another power. We would take the two numbers, the two exponents, and multiply them together. So a times b, whatever those numbers may be. This should be written down in order to help you complete your assignment. Okay, so let's see. Power to a power example. So because we are raising this 3x to the third power, the 3 is being raised to the third power and the x is being raised to the third power. And it's really important to forget about the number. Sometimes we forget about the number, but it's really important to remember. So 3 to the third power, well, that means 3 times 3 times 3, which would give me 27. And then x to the third power is just x to the third power. Now you try. Select the correct response below. So remember that 2 that's on the outside is applying to the 3 and to the x to the 4th. So I rewrote it so I wouldn't get confused. Now I'm going to deal with the numbers first. So 3 to the second power means 3 times 3. So that's 9. And then x to the 4th power, and then that's raised to the second power. So I would multiply the 4 and the 2. So that's going to give me 8. A very common mistake is to add when you're supposed to multiply. So my correct answer would be C. Here's another example of power to a power. However, now we have two different variables. The same rules apply. We're just going to do each step individually. So I will rewrite the problem. So 3 is being raised to the third power. A squared is being raised to the third power. B squared is being raised to the third power. And then I'm going to do everything individually. So 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 to the third power, is 27. A squared, and then that raised to the third power means to multiply. So that would give me 6. And then again, b squared, and then that raised to the third power means to multiply. So I would end up with 27, a to the 6th power, b to the 6th power. And I always like to put it in ABC order because when you have a lot of letters, it's just easier to look at that way. Now you try. Select the correct response. So I'm remembering to distribute that 2 in the power to each individual number and letter. So I rewrote the problem, and then I'm going to do everything individually. So 3 squared is 9. U squared, and then that raised to the second power. Multiply your numbers. So 2 times 2 is 4. B to the 4th power, and then again raised to the second power. So multiply gives me 8. So my correct answer would be C.